So good morning, students. Yesterday we have seen that momentum theory for descent. So with the continuation, we are taking today auto rotation, wake analysis, and ground effect. Okay. So these three topics we will be seeing. So with this, our chapter one will be coming to end, and we can move to the chapter two from the next week. Okay. So today let's get into the class. First one is the basics from the vertical design. Okay, how it is done and how the experimental data has been taken. So the reference, I have always used the images and contents from basic helicopter aerodynamics, John Sudden, Willy publications. So the credit will always goes to them. So in order to understand the vortex generation, there is wake analysis, wake formation, how the wake is generated in the helicopter rotors. So the experimental data has to be taken, right? So they have made one rotor rig in the wind tunnel. You can see over here in this left side image, right? So they have made a rotor rig, right? And they have kept for various types of airfoil. You have to make such scaled model, and then the scaled model will be with the basic parameters like speed, rotor radius, and blade chord, number of blades we are going to use, what is the twist angle, and pitch, collective pitch, how much it is. So based on the settings, the results have been calculated. Okay. So according to the given data and the concept of axial flight is nothing but the climb and descent. Okay. So since we have seen the previous lecture, momentum theory for descent, so we are continuing with the descent phase itself. Okay. In this lecture also, we are continuing with descent phase. So if you see here, in climb and hover condition, the flow retains the stream tube concept. The flow retains the stream tube concept, and yes, this is the stream tube concept. I hope you can see in the left side image, right? So that's the stream tube concept. Throughout the length of the stream tube, the velocity is in downward direction. Okay. So in the climb and hover condition, so kindly note that in climb and hover condition, even that is axial flight only, so up and down, so that is axial flight. So during climb and hover, the velocity is in downward direction. Okay. So the velocity will be acting downward in the stream. Okay. So this white color is our rotor disc, where I am mentioning now R. Okay. So that is our rotor disc. Okay. And the actuated disk theory, that is our momentum theory, can be applied with this due regard to its inherent simplicity. So that's why I have told, whatever the results we are getting through momentum theory, it is for just approximate values. This is not for accurate value. Okay. So this phase where in climb and hover condition, right? So that is called as normal working state. Okay, so that is called as normal working state. So apart from that, we are having various types of states. Okay, so what is that state indicates that depending upon the rotor movement and depending upon the velocity direction, the states are defined. Okay, so this state, which is defined with respect to climb and hover, it is a normal working state. Okay, so let's get into the next slide. So this analysis which we are seeing in the left side, right, so image, so that was done with computational dynamics and the result from experimental data also. Okay. So when there is a low rates of descent, suppose in the previous slide we have seen that when the helicopter is in climb or hovering condition, then it has to be said that it is in a normal state, right? So it is in a normal state. So when the helicopter start to descend with low rates, that means, well, let's consider that speed of descent is 10 meter per second. So 10 meter per second is one of the low rates. Okay. So 10 meter per second or 5 meter per second, depending upon how you want to take. Okay. So a toroidal type of vertical structure begins to form. So can you able to see in this rotor, right? So can you able to see, identify in this rotor particularly, right? So I will go back to the previous slide once. So this is a normal state. So this is the stream tube condition, right? So where we are considering the flow around the rotor system, right? So this is during the climb where velocity is going down. The velocity of the flow will be in the downward direction. Okay. So, but in the next state, with a low rate of descent, that is, let's consider 5 meter per second, right? So a toroidal vortex is forming on the rotor system. Can you able to see here? So they have given cross section view. So that's why they have drawn the half of the toroidal section, but it will be full. Okay. So when they are giving the three-dimensional wave, it will be full. So they have just for a representation, in order to understand that, they have given the cross section. Okay, right. So yeah, a toroidal will form for low rate of descent. So actuator disk theory can be applied, but this is sensible limit of use. So even momentum theory can be applied in this particular state, especially the low rate of descent, but it is having a large error limits. Okay, so that's why they are using that term called sensible limit of its use. Okay, so there are some error limits also there. So that's why they are using that actuator disk theory, that is momentum theory for descent. Okay, so there is a small amount of upward flow. So there is a small amount of upward flow rotor, but the majority is in the downward direction still. Why they are mentioning downward direction? Since we are going for the low rate of descent. Okay, so that's why they are saying even though there is small upward flow direction, but majority will be the downward flow direction, because we are changing the phase from normal state to normal working state to descent. Okay, so normal working state is either climb or hovering. So once if we start to descend from the normal working state, right? So let's start with low rates. So a toroidal type of vortex will form, right? And the momentum theory will be having sensible limit, that is, it will have some errors, and most of the flow will be downward, whereas small amount of flow will be upward for low rate of descent. Okay, so kindly try to understand for low rates of descent. Okay, so don't think that like entirely in the previous lecture I have told, when we are speaking about descent, right, overall descent, the flow will be acting down to up, right? So but for low rates, especially when we are changing from climb or hover phase to descent, right? So then a small amount of flow will be there upward, where the remaining will be acting downward. Okay, right. So then if the speed of the rate is increasing, so moderate rate of descent. Okay, so now let's consider that 25 meter per second. Okay, so 10 meter per second it is low, let's consider, and 25 meter per second if it is medium moderate, right? So you can see the structure how it is formed, the vortex formation, how it has been generated, right? So a large toroidal vortex type of structure is formed for moderate rate of descent. Okay, so there will be unsteady condition, unsteady type of flow state will be there. So during this moderate rate of descent, there will be a unsteady, the flow will be unsteady in condition, and actuated disk theory is totally unsuitable for this situation. So momentum theory for descent, right, which we have calculated in the previous lecture. So if we are calculating the thrust required using the momentum theory for descent, and if you are doing with the experimental data, there is a large of contradictory statement when we are descending with moderate rate. Okay, so that's why they have declared that by wake analysis, actuator disk theory is totally unsuitable for this particular situation, that is for moderate rate of descent. So this state is called as vortex ring state. Okay, so the first state is normal working state, that is during climb and hovering condition. So you can see the image, right? So this is the normal working state. So when there is a low rate of descent, so toroidal vortices are formed along the rotor system, tip of the rotor. When medium rate of descent is there, the toroidal vortex will be large and the flow will be very much unsteady, and momentum theory cannot be used in this particular situation. So this situation is called as vortex ring state. Okay, so the velocity direction is varied across the rotor throughout this flow. So in previous we have said that the velocity will be up, but larger velocity will be acting downward. Okay, but here the velocity direction is varied across the rotor throughout this flow state. So it will be like up, down, right? So it will be varying accordingly, like the flow pattern, right? The vortex generation at the rotor tip, right? So it will be depending upon the toroidal, how much larger toroidal vortex is formed, and those state is called as vortex ring state. So two states we have seen so far. One is normal working state, another one is vortex ring state. Okay. Now, if we are increasing the descent speed rate, right? So let's consider that helicopter is descending with 50 meter per second. Okay. So first we have said that it is in climbing position or in hover position. Then we have told that it is descending with a low rate. Let's consider that 5 meter per second or 10 meter per second. Then we have come to moderate speed, that is 25 meter per second. Now let's consider with the highest higher speed increases. Okay, descent speed increases. So let's consider 50 meter per second. So what is happening? The wake now begins to move above the rotor because the what flow, right? So down to up, it will be acting with large speed, right? So what will happen? The vortex generated at the rotor will start to move to the upper position of the rotor, above the rotor. Okay. So as descent speed increases, the wake now begins to move above the rotor, and its characteristics are similar to the wake behind a circular disc. So hence it is named as turbulent wake state. Okay. So why what they are using the term called circular disc is nothing but they are using the term for wind turbine. So the same is applicable for wind turbine also. Okay. So not only wind turbine, even if you are speaking about fans, right? So wherever the rotor disc is there, so the same concept of momentum theory and same flow pattern wake analysis which we are discussing right now. So that is also applicable. It depending upon which direction the rotor system is placed. So whether the rotor is placed vertically or whether the rotor is placed horizontally, right? So depending upon that, the wake formation will be also there. Okay. So that's why they are using the term called circular disc, similar to the circular disc. So hence it is called as turbulent wake state. Okay. So during descent, when speed increases, let's say 50 meter per second, so the wake will move above the rotor, right? So that state is called as turbulent wake state. So this is the third state. First one is normal working state, climb or hover. Second one is vortex ring state, that is during moderate speed. Third one is turbulent wake state, that is during higher speed, higher descent rate. Okay, so kindly consider descent. I have only spoken about the descent. Okay, so there is a still difference in the velocity direction, right? So we know that for higher velocity, the velocity is going to act from lower to upper, right? So because the helicopter want to descend. Okay, so it is difficult to justify using actuated disc theory unless the descent velocity is approaching twice that of induced velocity. So I hope you might have yesterday we have learned that Vd is equal to 2 times the velocity of induced velocity. So induced velocity will be here. So Vd is the exit, right? So velocity of descent. So until unless the velocity of descent is reaching velocity 2 times the velocity of induced velocity, right? So until that, the momentum theory cannot be applied. Suppose if the velocity of descent is reached twice the induced velocity, then we can say that momentum theory for descent is applicable. Okay, so I hope you understand that the three states, one is normal working state, turbulent wake state, and vortex ring state, and those characteristics, whether momentum theory will be used or not used. Okay, right. So I'm moving to the next slide. So the final slide, final state. So as descent rate increases further, so above higher speed, let's say it is going 70 meter per second, then the wake will go out of the stream tube condition. So the required limit, right? So the required limit. So this is our initial inlet. So rotor is behaving, right? So rotor is rotating and vortex will be generated. If the wake is going out of the exit, right? Exit limit. So out of the stream tube, right? So the wake is now moved further above the rotor and velocity is now upward throughout. Okay. So when the wake is moved out of the stream tube concept, right? So then the stream tube concept is now appropriate, the shape of the stream tube, right? So that is appropriate, and the actuator disk theory can be applied with due to regard in this particular state. Okay. So now for this, the momentum theory which we have solved in the previous class will be applicable, and this state is called as windmill brake state. Okay, right? So once again I am going back with each slides so that you can understand the wake analysis, how it is been done. Just I will give the summary. So they have kept a rotor rig in the wind tunnel, right? So the following parameters are considered. This is like wind tunnel settings. Okay, so 1200 RPM, rotor radius is 254 millimeter, blade chord is given, and number of blades is 3. Blade twist is taken as 8 degree, and collective pitch is 10 degree. Okay, so for this rotor system, they have calculated the descent analysis, okay, wake analysis, how it has been done and how it is going to help. Okay, so initially consider that the helicopter is in the climb or hover position, right? So the flow will be in a steam tube concept, right? So inlet and outlet. Okay, so for climb and hover I am saying, so this will be the inlet and this will be the outlet, so the helicopter will move upward. Okay, so depending upon the rotor. So throughout the length of the tube, the velocity will be acting downward. Yes, the velocity is going to act downward. Velocity of the flow. Okay. So thrust will be acting upward. So actuator disk theory can be applied. Yes, momentum theory can be applied. So this is normal working state. And so when the low rate of descent, right? So when the descent rate, when the helicopter starts to descend, so let's consider it is 5 meter per second. So at that time, the vortex generation will be started 5 meter, 10 meter per second. So toroidal type of vortex structure will be formed along the rotor system. So I hope you can see the toroidal formation, right? So this is the cross-sectional area, and actuator disk theory can be applied, but it is having some errors. Okay, so momentum theory we can apply for this, but there is some error due to the vortex formation, because in momentum theory we are not considering the vortex formation under. Okay, just we are considering the mass flow rate and we are calculating the pressure difference. Okay, right. So the third point is, so there is small amount of upward flow will be there, and relatively the majority will be in the downward direction, because the helicopter from climb or hover condition to descent. So the helicopter is switching from one phase to another phase. Okay, so that's why they are saying that small amount will be acting upward, so that will indicate the descent, but majority will be acting downward, because it depends upon the changing of phase from climb or hover to descent. Okay, right. So the third one is moderate rates. Let's consider the helicopter is coming down with 25 meter per second. So in that case, the vortex generation in the rotor, right? So it will be large. So the entire momentum theory is not at all suitable for the situation, because we are not at all considering the vortex formation and its effect when we are calculating the momentum theory. Okay, so this state is called as vortex ring state, and the velocity is varied across, because some will be acting upward, some will be acting downward, so depending upon the vortex formation. Okay, so the next one is the vortex, that is the wake, turbulent wake state. So when the speed increases, let's consider 50 meter per second. So when the speed increases, the vortex wave, right? So the wake will form above the rotor, and that state is called as turbulent wake state. So here the direction of velocity will mostly it will be downward. So a little bit component will act as upward because of the vortex formation. Okay, so until unless we are reaching VD is equal to, VD is equal to 2 VI, right? That is velocity of descent. So VD, VI, VI is induced velocity. Okay, so induced velocity, when we are reaching VD equal to 2 times the VI, right? So that time momentum theory will be applicable. At remaining time, the momentum theory won't be applicable. Okay, so the final is if descent rate is further increased, let's say 70 meter per second or 65 meter per second, so finally the wake will move out of the stream tube, right? So the stream tube concept is now appropriate. The shape will be formed, which is similar to the climb or hover condition. So this state is called as windmill break state. Okay. So this is wake analysis. So apart from that, there is a graphical representation between Vi by Vh. So what is Vi? Vi is induced velocity for descent. Okay. Vh is induced velocity during hover. Okay. So here also it is compared with climb divided by Vh. Okay. So climb divided by Vh. So you can understand that here we have to consider from right to left. Okay. The graph we have to consider from right to left, since this is the climb phase, the climb or hover condition. Okay. And this is our descent. Okay. So descent rate. So if you see here, right, so initially the normal working state, that is hover or climb, so that was given in this graph. So depending upon the ratio climb divided by Vi, so it is starting to decrease. The x-axis, it is starting to decrease, but at the meantime velocity induced by velocity hovering, right, induced during descent, so that is increasing, and it is reaching the vortex ring state. Okay. So descent rate is increasing, keep on increasing. So at low descent rate, we are getting the vortex generation at the rotor blades, so that is vortex ring state. So again, when the descent rate is increased further, so the wake will be moving above the rotor, so the turbulent wake state will be here. So when descent rate is further increased, right, so increasing means this 0 less than, so 0 less than, that is descent rate is increasing. Okay. So kindly consider that is descent rate is increasing. Okay. So wake will be formed, and when descent rate is further increased, that is windmill break state, that is after the wake is moved out of the stream tube condition, it is not going to have much effect in the helicopter during descent. Okay. Right. So that's why it is called as windmill break state. So when this state, the momentum theory will be applicable. So using that, we can calculate the thrust, and it will be, the answer will be also correct. Right. So the correspondingly, the power generation is also given. So the power required to maintain the thrust in vertical descent generally falls as the rate of descent increases. Okay. So the power required to maintain the thrust in the vertical descent, right? So when the rate of descent increases, the power required will be decreasing, because the flow, right, the vortex wake, turbulent wake is moving above the rotor, so it is not going to create any effect. If we speak about climb, if the vortex is hitting the fuselage structure, right, so due to it required more power to lift, but here we are due to the pitch change, the flow is going from below to up, right? So the upper layer, the wake at the upper layer, it is not going to affect the performance of the helicopter. Okay. So that's why the power at the descent rate is false. Actually, it is falling. So as rate of descent is increasing. Okay. So that's what it is mentioned here. So when rate of descent is increasing, right, so the power generation will be also drop accordingly. Okay. Right. So rate of descent. So this is Vc by Vh. So rate of descent is given over here. So this is climb. So this is climb, and this is reduced. Okay. So this is descent phase. Right. So the next one is auto rotation. So many of you might hear this auto rotation, right? So I will be just giving simply this. This is not only applicable for helicopters. Whatever the rotor system we are having, let's say auto gyro, right? Gyrocopters, right? So for that also it will be applicable. So suppose let's consider when the engine fails. Okay. So if the engine fails, so how the pilot can make the helicopter to land successfully? Okay. So if the power transmission is failed, the flow, right? So the flow of air direction will be also changing, right? So that's why if you see in the left side, the image shows the two parts, that is normal powered flight. So when the engine is on, so the flow of direction will be in this from up to down, right? So that the helicopter will move forward. Okay. So when engines start to fail, right? So we have the pilot will tilt the pitch control accordingly, so that the flow from down is moving backward and the helicopter will move in this direction. Okay. So it won't descend vertically. Clear that. Make sure you understand that the auto rotation doesn't mean that the helicopter will land vertically. Okay. So because if we are trying to land that, we will end it will end in disaster. So we have to land with a descent rate, like a gliding phase. Okay. So what will happen, the rotor will be still rotating, right? So this flow which is from the downward, it will be used to produce some lift in the rotor, and the lift will make the rotor to rotate, right? So that it will start to descend and glide, and then it can land successfully. Okay. So this type of uh, pattern, right? This type of technique is called auto rotation landing. Okay. So it is normal powered helicopter, and air is drawn into the main rotor system from the above, exhausted downward. So that's what I told. So during auto rotation, air moves upward into the rotor system from below as the helicopter descends. Okay. So auto rotation is permitted mechanically because of both freewheeling units, which allows the main rotor to continue turning even if the engine is not running. Okay. So mechanically we have to design the mast, and we have to design accordingly that uh, shafts. Okay. So the main rotor can continue to rotate if even if the engine is not working. Okay. So as well as the aerodynamic forces maintaining the rotor speed. Okay. So due to this flow and the pitch angle which we are maintaining, right? So we can generate a lift, and that lift will give the rotational moment, so that we can maintain the rotor speed for particular level. Okay. So this equation is used. So since we are descending, right? So the power equation is used with respect to thrust into descent velocity, that is minus it is used, and plus vi induced velocity. Okay. So of course here the profile power is making a impact, since the forward rotor, right? The forward rotor and backward rotor is there. So forward rotor will get good air intake, but due to this fuselage shape, the later side of the rotor will take less air intake. Okay. So so that the profile power is also increased, it is included in the total power of auto rotation, right? So but the overall we have to say that when the power turns to zero, right? The mechanical power which we are giving, when it is turns to zero, right? So if I am applying this power, total power is equal to zero, right? So what will happen, the velocity, that is the mechanical power is zero, right? So I'm just bringing this term left side, right side term to the left side. So I'll be getting how much velocity of descent is required during auto rotation. Okay. So how much velocity of descent is required in auto rotation, so that the pilot can smoothly land his helicopter without any problem. Okay. So of course the power has to the produced by the rotor, it is has to overcome the profile power also. Okay, because the fuselage is there. Okay. So that much velocity we need to generate to maintain the auto rotation. So here I have given an example. There is some error over here. So this is not the term. Uh, Sorry for that error. This is minus 1.7. Okay. When VC by V naught, VC by V naught is minus 1.7. Okay. So kindly consider this as minus 1.7. There was some typing error. Minus 1.7, and CD has a value 1.38. Okay. So we know that drag can be calculated with half rho V square area into CD, right? So thrust we have defined with mass flow rate, right? So otherwise thrust can be said that thrust required can be said that to overcome the drag. Okay. So that's why we are equating the thrust and drag force, right? T is equal to D. So from here we can calculate the CD. So CD value is, when we are equating both the equation, this and this. Okay. 4 divided by VC by V naught the whole square. Okay. So when we are equating this two equation, we will be getting 4 divided by VC by V naught the whole square. So if VC by V naught, right? So if VC by V naught is minus 1.7, so minus 1.7 indicates that is it is descending. The helicopter is descending. It is having some descent rate. Okay. So at that time we are getting a drag coefficient value is 1.38. So that 1.38 is very much close to the solid plate. Okay. So when a plate is thrown in the air, so the drag produced in the solid plate, right? So that is that much drag is produced in the helicopter also. Okay. So 1.38. So when the ratio is further changed, that changed to 1.8, so it is giving a value of 1.32, 1.23. Okay, coefficient of drag. So which will be very much effective drag of coefficient for parachute. So the drag coefficient, the value of drag coefficient 1.23 is very much suitable for the coefficient of parachute. Okay. So if we are generating and if we are maintaining a drag coefficient of 1.23 during our descent, helicopter descent without engine, without power supply, okay, engine failure, so the auto rotation can be maintained and the auto rotative descent will also behave like a parachute. Okay. So since if you are maintaining 1.23 coefficient of drag. Okay. Right. Yes, this is the graphical representation which is given for descent rate. That's why they are indicated with minus 1.2. So as speed increases, the drag is also decreasing. So we have to identify the suitable drag value. That is, we have told nearly 1.23, right? So it will be here. So the approximate value will be 1.8 around, minus 1.8. Okay. So that much descent rate, coefficient of descent velocity, right? So that much we have to maintain so that the helicopter will act like a parachute during auto rotation and we can land safely. Okay. So apart from that, if you I have included this for understanding how the rotor vortex will be generated. So this is like a helical wake, like a sheet. So if you see that if the helicopter blade is rotating from the upper surface, we can see the wake formation, right? It will be like a helical sheet throughout the span. Okay, we are seeing throughout the span. Okay, right? So the throughout the span it will be like a helical wake. If you see about the wing tip, that is rotor tip, so it will be vortex generated, right? So you can see the curling effect, turbulent effect, right? So when we study about this motion of this vortex flow, so it will be having if it is generating a clockwise vortex rotational, so it will be having a vortex formation. So it will be moving from one phase to another phase, and we have to study about that, how it is going to impact with the fuselage or other rotor systems if we are having. Okay, so by that we can improve the efficiency of the vehicle. Okay. So the same wake sheet and tip vortex trajectory. So the path is given, how the wake, the same type of sheet is there, and how the tip vortex is also going to get the impact. Okay. So the tip is going to rotate along the circular pattern, right? So that's why they have included here. The vortex will be it is like a sheet, it will be coming down. Okay, right. So I'm having a video also, I will show in this lecture itself at the end. So ground effect, so everyone knows ground effect, even I have told before also, so I'm just showing with the example. So when you see that when a firefighter or military, they are trying to rescue any person who is drowning in water, right? So at the time you can see the fluid motion in the ocean, right? So how the fluids in the ocean is behaving due to the rotational speed, right? So apart from that, when the rotor hits the ground and it is coming back to the helicopter blade, right? So we have to maintain certain altitude. If you are maintaining this certain altitude, the rotor, the flow from up to down, right? If you want to hover also, we have to, the flow has to be up to down. Okay, so when it is coming and hitting the surface and it is rotating back, so this, when it is hitting the rotor system, it will provide a lift. So it will be like a cushioning. Okay, there will be a little bit cushion effect will be there, so that we can maintain the stability of the helicopter, as well as that ground effect will be advantage for us. But if we are not maintaining the required altitude, right, if you are not maintaining the required altitude, the flow from the helicopter, it will be awake, it will form a wake, and it will try to circulate and it will re-enter from upper side, which will be very much disadvantage for our helicopter, because the drag will be more, so that the pilot has to generate more lift. Okay, so the high altitude is also playing a major role in terms of ground effect. Okay, right. So that's why this is the ratio divided by sorry, altitude. Z is the altitude, the rotor height above the ground, and the radius of the rotor. Okay, so Z by R they have taken as a ratio, and depending upon that, the thrust required is also a factor. Okay, so if you see here, in ground effect, out of ground effect. Okay, so it depends upon how much altitude we are maintaining, so that the in ground effect or out ground effect, it is whether it is going to be beneficial or whether it is going to be disadvantage. So both it is having beneficial and disadvantage, but it depends upon at what altitude we are utilizing. Okay, this ground effect. So apart from that, this is the last slide. So there is another one term called brownout. Okay, suppose as the helicopter approaches the ground, so when the helicopter is approaching, that is descending to the ground, the spreading of wake will interact with the any horizontal wind. So let's consider that there is a flow, right? It is moving here, right? So it is moving in this direction. So when the helicopter start to descend, so descending means it is going to, already it is going to generate a flow, inflow, right? So as well as it is going to generate a wake formation, right? So when this horizontal flow, there is horizontal wind, let's say tailwind or headwind, whatever, okay, or crosswind. So for here it is considered as a horizontal wind. So this will tend to turn the upwind wake upwards, after which it re-enters to the rotor. So the due to the ground effect, the uh, wake, right? So the wake will try to form, and it will try to move forward. But if there is a horizontal wind, so what will happen to this wake? The wake will also move backward. Instead of moving reverse, it will try to move backward. Okay. So if you see in this image, right? So the helicopter is descending, right? So what will happen to the wake? The wake is moving backward. Okay. So this type of effect is called as brown out. Okay. So they are using that term called toroidal flow. So since the rotational is different. So here we are seeing the tilting rotor. The example is given with respect to tilting rotor, but there is it is suitable for helicopters also. Okay, with main rotor, one single rotor. Okay. So with this I am ending the session. So I want to show some video. Since we are having 5 minutes, I will show the video also. So I hope you can hear this video. I hope it is audible. So if you are not able to hear, kindly put it in the chat itself. Right. I'm skipping some part for your better understanding. So when there is an engine failure, even though the rotor can rotate, okay, and the pilot can descend safely and he can touch down using the flow direction. Okay, so he has to just maintain the direction of the flow, so to make the rotor rotate continuously. Okay, so the proximity of tail from the surface determines the cabin altitude at which the helicopter is level. Okay, so if you see that during the landing, the pilot will make little bit nose up. Okay, so like we have seen for aircraft flaring, right? So aircraft flare. So like that, the pilot will also do for helicopter. So when the rotor engine is failed, so that also you have to be considered. Okay, so the approximate height of the level is 20 feet. We have to maintain for nose up, and he has to use the correct collective pitch control. So this is our collective pitch control. I hope you can see that, right? And this is our cyclic pitch control, right? So using those, he has to maintain that. So each and every pilot will be trained accordingly. Okay. So this is how that auto rotation has been done. Okay. So apart from that, I want to show another video for ground effect. So I hope you can see that video also. So this is a computational fluid dynamics analysis. So how it was done by Onera, I cannot able to identify. That is a French aerospace lab. So they have studied about wake formation, especially in the ground effect of the helicopter blade. Okay. So when the helicopter blade is rotating, and they have some settings also, some criteria they will be having. So this type of analysis they have done, where they'll be studying about how the wake is forming. So here you can see only the tip effect. Okay, so throughout the span, the effect will be like a vortex sheet, right? So you can see over here how the flow it is going to behave, right? So since there is less ground distance, right? So the wake will be formed and it will be coming back to the rotor. So can you able to see that? The wake will be formed and it will be coming back to the rotor, and this will be like a recirculation. Okay, so loss of rotor thrust. So the rotor thrust will be lost. Okay, so during this, the rotor thrust will be lost, and for understanding, they will be using the particle image velocimetry. So to understand the velocity of the flow, they will be using one instrument. Even in wind tunnel, they will be using the PIV. Okay, so PIV is particle image velocimetry. So if didn't have that subject, experimental aerodynamics, so if you have that subject, then most of the instruments related to aerospace, what are the instruments will be there, so that will be done. So for just now, you just understand to calculate the velocity of fluid, particle PIV, that is particle image velocimetry will be used. Okay, so for various time being, this type of analysis have been done. So you can see the variation, pressure offset with respect to ambient pressure. So how much the blade tip, right? So how it is behaving, and wall, right? So wall is nothing but the ground they have taken as wall. I hope you are already aware of this ANSYS and all. So that's why I'm not going to explain. This is just for a understanding how the ground effect is playing the major role and to see the tip what is formation. Okay, right. So with this, I'm ending the session. So if you have any doubt, those who are having doubt, you can stay. Remaining, you can leave the session. So already it's been 11:46. Sparsh, yes, I will compile everything for the chapter one, and I will give you in the WhatsApp itself. No issue. I will share the PPT.